This is Rugby 22. We're here on Xbox Series X taking a look at the next-gen version of the game. When looking at this one, make sure you are preparing choosing the proper option when it comes to your experience gameplay-wise. There is like a last-gen version, there is a next-gen version here, so just keep that in mind. So what we're getting here is a 4K resolution that's upscaled from, lower resolution, 60 FPS, 2 players, local online, and it's aiming to simulate the sport of rugby. There are different weathering conditions to a degree. You play during the day, you could play at night, there's a rain, there's a wind-rain option. So if that's something that you are kind of looking at or care about, just so you know, there are other simulation elements to it. So if you're not familiar with rugby, it is kind of like American football to a degree in terms of like the initial concept, I guess you would say, maybe. I think that's kind of stretching it, but I'm just trying to give like a basis of comparison here. So it's a neat sport because you are moving forward typically by throwing the ball backwards. Like, you kind of pass backwards, and you get these big scrums, and it's really quite competitive, and again, a very brutal offering that I think a lot of people that have played it kind of know what I'm talking about sport-wise. It really is quite interesting, though, and I would say that the thing is almost a little complicated for me at times, just in regards to the controls, because there's all these like mini games that pop up, if that makes sense. It's kind of like you're basically doing like these little scrum things, and you have to do these like big little battle areas. Again, I'm trying my best to explain it. I'm not probably like the hugest rugby fan in the world, obviously, but I do have a working knowledge to a degree of how it plays and stuff like that, because I have, not played it like intensely, but I've played it and whatnot. So yeah, it's an interesting sport, and again, it's a little brutal. For me, it was always like, oh, it's a bit too brutal of a sport for me to jump into in real life, but I knew a lot of people that played it and stuff, and that's kind of interesting. There are lots of different difficulty options that are present if you want to, oh, that was bad timing. If you want to have an easier going time or a harder going time, it's a bit of an awkward opening, though, because they like kind of force like either tutorials or you have to do a kickoff game. I like in other sports games where it's like, if I don't have to do a kickoff game, it's just like I'd rather just play around with the settings and do my own thing right off the bat. So that was kind of annoying. I mean, it's like a 2-second thing just to get you familiar with the game or give you the option to do tutorials. Because again, like this game, there's a lot going on in it gameplay-wise. Like, there's a lot of things to learn and have to do. And, I could see where that's a lot of, effort to kind of sit here and figure out what exactly you're supposed to be doing in this one. I mean, some people that have probably never seen rugby are like, what is going on here? And that's the thing, is kind of just like, yeah, there's a lot of complexity to it, gameplay-wise. And this is just like, I guess you would almost say, one of the mini-game type things you do in this, because you've got to essentially like battle in all these different like huddled group areas. And a lot of the times to go forward, you gotta go back, and that creates a scenario where it's like kind of a very back and forth kind of game. And it's just like a lot of this scenario. So I don't know how perfectly, I would say, for like the hardcore enthusiasts this would like fully capture the sporting event of it, but I do think it is something that is quite a bit of fun. Oh, we are like right on the line here. Come on. We're not gonna get this, are we? Yeah, it's just like, it could be a real brutal kind of battle to kind of get, this ball over there and to get the tries going on. And you are just like constantly battling back and forth. So anyways, let's talk about the rest of the experience. So aside from just doing quick play options with the settings I've mentioned, there are lots of different modes. There's like an events type mode that has some things going on. There's like a career type mode with like season options. Don't necessarily expect anything too insanely in depth, you know, in that regard, but you know, there is a lot of different, like, you know, modes that are present to capture things. Online matchmaking, online invite a friend. You know, it gets the basics kind of down, I would say, and again, like these mini-game type scenarios that are going on. It's kind of intense, and then sometimes you get to the line, and sometimes love is on time, but sometimes it is not. And that's the craziness of this one, is just like trying to get these tries. Oh, why would you kick it? I didn't mean to kick it back that way. Yeah, you could do like kicks and stuff to grab the ball, and usually you want to move it forward, but yeah, I just keep accidentally clicking that button because I'm in the zone where there's like, I'm gonna keep clicking all these things. Ugh. See, we're trying to move to the outside and hopefully pass the ball off, but it's just kind of like, you get it, you get knocked down. I didn't mean to throw it out there, that's not the best. So, we got the career mode we mentioned, over 50 official teams are present, and tactical experience to recreate the matches, season kits, or players and kits, full list, I guess their mentioning is available so that you can see it if you want to see what the full rosters are. There's a bunch of different arena options. I would have maybe liked a little bit more of like an expressive crowd, if that makes sense. Like they're, you know, they're kind of detailed and stuff. Like again, what we get here usually for this company is like, you know, they cover the sports that other people don't necessarily do, and I think that actually is a good thing that we get to see, you know, representation from a bunch of sports that we don't typically get a lot of representation from. I mean, there have been quite a number of rugby games over the years. It still is getting support, but you know, it's not necessarily like one of the big player sports, and we see, I want to say, a lot less competition in sporting options these days for sports games, and that isn't necessarily the best, so it is always good to have, you know, more games and more things to simulate different sports, and I think that's important. I did not mean to kick that out of there. Oh, the shame of that. So it's got the prestigious competitions, biggest clubs, top rugby nations, you know, stuff like that. It's I don't know. I think it gets it. You know what I mean? Like, I think we get all these different options for playing and trying to get the ball, and I think if you find that this emulates it, or well, simulates it enough for you, I think you'll get your sort of value out of it if you like rugby and you just want to see it available as a game. You know, this is kind of your option for the year, and I mean, it looks fine. You know, visually it looks detailed fine, the character models are okay. You know, it's not necessarily like the huge AAA type sporting games I'm used to, but I think this one definitely actually fills a necessary void, which is kind of cool. Oh, there we go, I wasn't expecting that. That was really good. We're almost there, guys. I just want to get a single kind of try going on here. Having a really hard time. And if you're wondering what a try is where you are, you know, you basically get like a touchdown. Again, going back to that comparison to American football, that's basically what it is. As we lose all of that yardage. Great, now we're back on our side. And that's the fun of the rugby, is it really can go back and forth. I mean, I'm sure I'm not playing the strategy the smartest, as some people might, but, you know, trying to just convey the gameplay to a degree. Like, I was just walking it in other matches. They are definitely... Oh, and they are probably going to get this now, aren't they? Yep. Why isn't it switching to that guy? Okay, well, they got to try. So that's sad for me, but good for them. I'm glad they were able to sneak that try in there. I guess they're doing, like, moves in the crowd. Maybe they're just not, like, they're almost, like, too blurred out, but I think the blurring out is to make them look potentially sharper. See, they look all right there, and again, the player models and stuff not too bad. The kits look decent. It's like a fine-looking kind of game, I would say, you know, next-gen wise, and you see a little bit of like dirt and stuff kind of compiling on the uniforms, which is cool. They're definitely floating on the grass there, but you know, again, for the type of sporting game it is, that's what I was trying to get across. It's kind of decent in that regard. So we're back for another match. Another thing I wanted to add was the loading screens could be faster for next gen, that's for sure. They do have like a control scheme that pops up before a match loads, so that's kind of neat if you need to learn the game's well, control options and moves and stuff. And they have a quiz, like where it's like, oh, what year was this happened in rugby history and blah blah blah. I'd wish there was also an alternative option where it's just kind of like a loading picture or something, but I don't know. Guess it doesn't really matter too much. It's just something I thought I would mention, as I thought it was, I don't know, something that was like popping up to me is, well, when you load into a match. Yeah. So we got another setup going here. This is the Premier League area. We were doing top 14 options last time. So different jersey options, different players. There are management options before a match starts if you want to change characters, athletes, I guess you would say. But that's also like the interesting thing I think a lot of people don't necessarily appreciate in sporting games these days, is just like the intense complexity that is present within, you know, games these days, like video games that capture sports. Is just like, you know, you gotta have good visuals, you gotta have all these players, you gotta have all these leagues, and it's a lot to deal with, right?
He caught that ball well, brilliantly positioned.
It's fine. No, I'm just kidding. Nice kick. And they got like little things on the side too. It's just not a bad effort. Like honestly, it's, you know, it's decent. It captures the sport well. If you like rugby, I think this is kind of your option, right?
A ruck's formed.
I mean, I can't really find anything where I'm like, oh, this is, you know, I got issues here. But I also, just keep in mind, again, am a little bit more casual rugby-wise, so I don't have as much, you know, invested in this like some other people would be. Like when I play the NHL video games, you know, obviously I'm a lot more passionate about how those ones turn out, and, you know, that kind of matters to me a lot more, and that's just something that I like to mention, as being like, hey, you know, just keep in mind what my context is reviewing this, and, you know, what my thoughts are on it. Like, it is something I have an understanding of in that, but I'm not necessarily someone of like intense passion towards the sport where I'm like, you know, watching it all the time. I usually actually watch it during the Olympics. It's kind of neat, and they have like rugby like sevens and stuff I find kind of cool. Ugh, jeez, we are not getting any ground there. Trying to like get it off to some player that's got like a little bit more stamina going on. So you kind of move it a little bit to the outside almost, just to try to get it like around the field, so that you can hopefully get a try going on. I'm gonna be so shook if I accidentally did the kick. No, no. I just want to get this ball in there. And you can hold down how hard it is to kind of like push it further. Dangerous play? Oh, come on.
Well, he may well be upset at receiving the yellow, but
yeah, this is the scrimmage thing. This is a big conflict going on. You gotta play these fun things. This is what I'm talking about. It's got all these like mini games. You gotta like fight for the ball and everything. It's like, ugh. And then you gotta like get this kind of thing going on, and that's how you win the ball thing in the circle group. The ball thing is. So I feel with this sometimes.
Ball gathered in by the number 8. They have to get the ball to the winger.
They've kept possession at the back of this ruck.
Oh!
Sets off down the touchline.
There we go! We did it finally in this. Oh, I guess we scored like a buzzer beater too. This is really our best option for placing the ball. I don't know about this.
Let's see about the conversion now.
Then you gotta do the kick. I did not get nearly enough strength off of that.
That was a poor kick. Really lacked the distance.
That was crazy. So anyways, that's kind of Rugby 22.
And the second half of the
You know,
match
gameplay
underway.
wise, I hope I gave you context into it
He offloads
and
the ball out of the
everything
tackle.
like that, so that you can,
Excellent
you know, if it's something
offload
you're
out of
looking
the
at, you
tackle.
can see how it's playing and all the management of it. And I'm sure there's going to be some people that are like, hey, you're supposed to do this and whatnot, and, you know,
Manages to get the offload away.
whatever. And just enjoy some additional gameplay, I guess. That was a terrible kick. I just want to say I did not mean that in the slightest to do that. Huh? Go, 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 go!
There are huge opportunities
Ah,
on
she
the
done
wing.
like a stiff arm thing.
They took the ball in and it's still theirs. It's a ruck.
They're having to commit more numbers to the ruck.
They're scrapping for the ball, piling into the ruck. There's the tackle. Here's the ruck being created.
Oh, and they've managed to steal the ball in the ruck.
The tackle made, but the ball kept alive. Wonderful technique in that offload. Successful offload out of the tackle. They've got space out wide.
He's going for it!
And that's got into touch. Oh,
What is
poor
this?
retention.
Substitution.
So 7 players readying themselves for this line out. Ball thrown in and they keep possession. Ruck. They still have control of the ball.
He needs support. What a turnover. They pile into the ruck. And they've kept possession at the back of this ruck, and the attack leads to a ruck. They've managed to keep possession of the ball.
Oh, look at the energy, the dynamism of it all. The scrum half launches play. There's not a great deal of support there. Yep, that could have gone better.
Well, they tried it, but it just didn't come off.
They took the ball in and it's still theirs. It's a ruck.
And they've kept possession at the back of this ruck. They set up a ruck. They've managed to keep possession of the ball.
The referee says that's a ruck. They've held on to the ball. It's a ruck.
They still control the ball and can go wide. Ooh, quite a risky offload in that tackle.
Absolutely critical intervention by the defender. A great platform to attack from here, from this ruck.
Ball still in their possession.
Sharp passing.
Manages to get the offload away.
Gaps opening up out wide. Oh, everything that went into that has been rewarded. What a brilliant try.
They saw the opening, didn't hesitate, and took full advantage. What a try.
That's gone left.
Yes, he's pushed that too far to the left. Quite agree, Nick. A hugely anticipated match that has escaped the threat of rain, and that's good news for both the players and the spectators.
The ball goes straight. Well taken.
He needs support.
They still have control of the ball.
Oh, that was well played out wide. And a ruck is formed. They've turned over the ball. In they go to the ruck. They keep the ball.
A fresh move here, Ben. Something new.
Let's see if they can take the defence by surprise.
And finally the maul stopped.
But they're keeping the ball alive with all these offloads.
There's a chance on the outside with Reed adding extra bodies. Oh, they've lost the ball there.
Great pass. And the attack leads to a ruck. The attacking team keeps the ball.
A grubber on the fly. The ball's taken. He's taken to the ground. Now he has to release the ball.
Now the support arrives at the ruck. It's taken by the number 9.
Got underneath it. Superb. Ruck forms. Great tackle.
A really good contest there, and they managed to get the ball. He gets back onto his feet to challenge for the ball.
They still have control of the ball. He passes it. What a combination, Ben.
Oh, they've executed that to a T.
Ioane keeps the ball moving. A ruck's formed.
And they've kept possession at the